What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Devy Royale YouTube channel. I'm back, and we're back with a Dynasty mock draft right after the Combine, so you guys can start thinking about, all right, where are these guys going? Where are these values going? Where are these rookies going in a big Dynasty mock draft? Start thinking of value out there, too. If you play in Devy, if you play in college football, you can start seeing, like, where these rookies are getting valued. So we did a 12-team Dynasty mock, Superflex PPR. We got a bunch of good managers in this bad boy, so we're going to be breaking it down and be going with you guys through, like, hey, what are my picks that I like? Who's changing value out there? How high did Anthony Richardson go? Is something that we're going to be looking at. So while the video is playing, hit that like and subscribe button before you get out of here. Wait for the video, and then we'll dive into it. All right. Like I said, we got to put our boy Anthony Richardson on there in terms of like what he did at the Combine. But like I said, we're going to go through here. Everybody's eligible in the rookie class. And they're just going to talk about kind of values. Where are people going? And I think there's a lot of dynasty drafts going right now. And I think it's important to kind of see how you can make some team builds and where you're at, what positions you're at. So we're going to be diving all into it. So let's take a look. So we're going to be breaking them down 3 rounds at a time. I'll put it up on the screen. And as always, I like to talk about, hey, if you want to stop it, stop it. So here are the picks here. You'll see I'm in this draft. We have a lot of smart guys in this draft. But this was one of my favorite drafts to actually do because of all the different team builds that you're going to see. So nothing really changes in that first round. So you see the quarterbacks go and the wide receivers. The only thing that I think changed a little bit was CeeDee Lamb going on 111. I don't hate their team build, right? Like, and if you notice, this was a 3rd round reversal. So if you don't know what a 3rd round reversal is, essentially you drop the first 2 rounds, and in the 3rd round, it starts at the back end right there. So the 112 gets the 301. And in my opinion, it's just a lot of fun team build, different ways to build. Gives that 112, especially with maybe the quarterbacks, whatever there, a little bit of help. But we'll talk about, hey, maybe you don't like that. Let me know in the comments. Do you like 3rd round reversal? I tend to like it in startups, just based on value and team builds and those sorts of things. But CeeDee Lamb's the only real big change in that first round. Then you go into the second round, when you're looking at there, nothing really stood out to me. I will say the biggest thing that stands out to me, Bijan's still going as running back 1, and he tested very well. So when you're looking at the testing and everything there, Bijan tested very well, so he's still there. McCaffrey going to running back 2 is a kind of a different value. I mean, they're generally going around there, but you'll notice running backs in that second round are really where it's at. So if you really, and team build wise, if you're taking one of those top end quarterbacks in that first round, you're not going to get a second guy coming back. So are you comfortable drafting like a running back and a wide receiver there, which you see a lot of those teams are? And we're going to talk about what they kind of did in that second round, because I think some of the values are harder. But I think one big way to look at this, you have to see how you're going to build your roster in the dynasty startup if you have one of those first 6 picks, right? Because your quarterbacks, you're probably not going to get that second guy. Neither did I. If you see me right there, I took Jefferson, Prescott, and Higgins. So it is an interesting kind of build, right? Now, as far as biggest value change, Anthony Richardson. I mean, he went, when you're looking at just overall, 303 overall, like, hey, right before Tua, which I don't necessarily hate. I think it really, you saw him come out. He's going to get top 10 draft capital. And to make sure that, it's just a mock. No, we're in a startup right now. And he went 301, same kind of value. Quarterback, I believe 13, 14, wherever that's at. Same thing. So Richardson's value is shot up. So again, if you have him in a college league, a Devy league, or whatever, you can kind of use that, right? My favorite pick, though, I'm going to go, I love this first start for Skolthorne here with his build. Lawrence Young and ETN. I think ETN could be one of those guys. I'm a big anchor running back guy, so I'm going to take the best available running back, either that 2nd or 3rd round, and then build around him. I think ETN's a very strong candidate to be like my favorite anchor running back kind of value. I do know that they talked about bringing another running back. They're going to have to anyway. But ETN could be that guy. So I thought that was a really fun pick. And again, you see Pitts going at 301, Garrett Wilson 302. So you see the values there. Drake London going before T. Higgins. So we had a lot of talk about that, but I do like that build, Lamar, Waddle, and London. And then you kind of look at it. Kelsey's still going in that area. And so you can tell that the 104, or excuse me, the 105 there with Burrow, McCaffrey, and Kelsey are going for it big, right? So it's fun to see these team builds. I'm going to give a whole overview of the team builds after this too. So that's the first 3 rounds. Now, let's go through rounds 4 through 6, kind of look at this. In my opinion, the biggest value change is Cup. So when you're looking at Cup, it goes at 412. I think he's a good value in terms of maybe if you want to win now roster, right? At the 412, Not a bad spot for him in terms of like, hey, go win now. 29, but hey, probably 2 years of probably elite production left. Overall, you're going to see Barkley being the Eckler in there. Jameson Williams, I think, is an interesting kind of value play there. And in my favorite pick, because I'm going to stick on this train until it just that kills me. DeAndre Swift going at the 602. You know what? Like, again, Swift going in the third or fourth round last year, maybe you bet too high. Swift going in the 602 right after Mixon. I think that's a good pick. I think that especially with his build, he built through wide receivers. So Swift's his running back 1 and Akers will be his running back 2. But just that interesting kind of value there. I love it. I think Swift can step up. We don't know what the Jamal Williams situation is going to be in free agency coming up here in 10 days. But again, we don't know, right? But if Swift can be that pass catching guy, he's not a bad option as a late round. Like if you're going to go 0 quarterback in the first 5 rounds, Swift's an interesting team build. Hey, go grab him, right? Now, if you're looking at also the board, Javonte, how high are you going to draft Javonte? Are you comfortable drafting the 505? Christian Watson's getting up there at the 503. So this is kind of like, if you're going to call like, the first 3 rounds, you're just trying to win and okay, let me get value, let me build. This is kind of the money round. When you're looking at like 4, 5, and 6, like, who's going to get that breakout? Who's going to take that next step? Do you go old and go Cooper Kupp, right? Stephon Diggs at the 403. Do you go like that route? Barkley there, right? How do you mix it? Eckler, well, what do you believe in Eckler's going forward? So I think in this round, when you look at all, there's some value, some rookies in there. You see Quentin Johnson there at the 608. So again, Dameon Pierce at the 607. Is that too high for the running back at the Texans? Do you think they're going to draft a guy? What does that look? Do we believe in Michael Pittman being at the 506? Do you think that's a value? Like there's questions in here. Ramondre Stevenson, all those areas. Tony Pollard at the 612. So the 4, 5, 6 round is really like, there's a lot of risk in this round. Like how are you going to build throughout? And I think that's where you have to understand your team build and what you're looking at moving forward. Now, next one's round 7 through 9. So let's take a look at this and just kind of go through it. Biggest value change when you're looking at this one. So a lot of different guys, wide receivers. You're going to see a lot of the second quarterbacks in this round. So 7, 8, 9 is where you're going to find the value at the quarterback position. Jared Goff, 709. So he paired. So again, those 5 guys that had those top quarterbacks. Here's who they paired. So, Laughing Coffin, great name. He paired Herbert with Goff. Don't hate that. I think that's actually kind of an interesting play there. Geno Smith with Hurts. So, hey, do you believe in Geno? Is he more of a stopgap? How does that look? And then Russell Wilson with Burrow. So you see Russell Wilson there at the 805. So those are the quarterbacks that you're going to get based on kind of like the values there. Now, biggest value change is Mike Evans. He's completely shifted down the board. So when you're looking for a wide receiver maybe late that can have those production, 901, that's pretty good in terms of where you might be able to get a guy like Mike Evans. That's a lot cheaper, right? So if you're looking at kind of Keenan Allen in that same mindset, DeAndre Hopkins going to the 710, would you rather have Mike Evans or DeAndre Hopkins 2 rounds later? So I think that's the question that you have to look at when you're building these guys. My favorite pick still Deontay. I still like Deontay where he's going. I think he's still a value, right? So if you're looking at where Deontay Johnson's going and his value and where he's at, I still take it there. The 704, again, team build wise, does it look there? He's going to earn targets. And it's not like he's old. He's 26. And I think that's going forward. That's a fun guy to kind of target in that 7th round, 6th, 7th, 8th round, somewhere in there. And that's what they did. So again, not bad. Now, running backs get a little oof in this one. So you got still Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. So that's something that we've done a lot in this channel. They're still going in that 9th round. So that's just something to look at. Both those guys have been there. Jalen Hyatt going in the 9th round. We got Tank Bigsby, who didn't test too bad today, going in the 9th round. Algier. So you're looking at those kind of numbers. Michael Mayer, again, so this wasn't tight end premium, but when you're looking at Mayer where he's going about tight end 7 or 8. I'd rather have Michael Mayer, though, over Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys. So Dalton Schultz, he's free agent, but going at 7-12, I take Mayer before then, right? So if you get him in the 8th round, that's not a bad pick there. I also paired somebody here. I got Derek Carr as my QB2 with Dak Prescott. So again, thinking about how you're going to build that roster out, if you don't go running back double quarterback, double tap, what does that look like, right? And then if you wait, which I did, I'll show you. Aaron Jones is my running back 1 in this round at the 907. Okay, so that's kind of how that value looks at in those rounds. Now, rounds 10 to 12 to kind of wrap this thing up. Biggest value change. We have Elijah Moore dropping a lot, 1208. So I've had some questions about Elijah Moore's dynasty value. It's pretty non-existent based on this, right? Like he got drafted out after Marvin Mims, who had a really good combine. If you watch the 2023 sleeper video, excuse me, the video we highlighted Marvin Mims. I think that's a value there. Mooney, I think Jacoby Myers is my favorite pick in this one just because I wanted him. But at the same time, he's coming into free agency pretty quick. He's going to be the wide receiver one in free agency. He could be like the Christian Kirk light, right? Gets that big contract, finds himself a good quarterback, and gets targeted. And he was very efficient. Wide receiver 29 points per game last year. He could be that guy stepping forward that you're like, hey, if you can get him in the 12th round, that's a freaking value play. I think he's maybe my favorite value of the late round wide receivers in this group, especially at this time, because Juju's out there. But what is Juju going for? What is Sky Moore going for? I like Marvin Mims. I like Darnell Mooney, but Jacoby could be that guy that steps in and just earns targets, right? So I think that's what you have to look at. But I think Jacoby's my favorite pick of this group. Other guys going in here: Miles Sanders, Tyjae Spears, Sean Tucker. So you're looking at the rookie running backs. A lot of rookie running backs right here. Devin Shane, if you like him, I mean, he blew away the combine today in terms of his 40. So at the 10-12, Zach Evans didn't weigh in very good. So you're going to probably see him drop a little bit. And then I think another value there, Jordan Love. I like what B. Kane did here with his draft with Hurts, Smith, and Love. You just take the value play as it comes. And then this is like the tight end round. So you see that. Look at that. In terms of that 11th round, you're looking there. 6 tight ends getting taken there. So if you wait on tight end, that 11th round is really where you see the run. So just get that in your mindset. Hey, if I'm going to wait on tight end, this is where that 11th round is, and that's where it goes. So let's dive into kind of the final outlook of this all and just kind of go from there. So let's just take a look. And again, when we're looking at final outlook and we're talking about these things, like the biggest thing that you got to understand is just like team builds, right? I think the team build stuff is fascinating. So for me, when I'm looking at it and trying to like distinguish between, hey, what is that team build? What does it look like? And how do these guys build their rosters? I think that's the best part of this. So I highly, highly recommend stopping it, looking at this, and just going over it. I'm going to highlight some teams, obviously, that, I thought did well or just like different strategies. But this is a good time to stop it and look at and go through it. Now I'm going to move on to my roster, just to kind of talk about it. So that 106 mark is tough. So you really see kind of a quarterback just drop, unless you like Lawrence, Fields, or Jackson. I wanted to go Jefferson to just kind of do something different here to see what my team build would look like. And then on the flip end, you get Dak after Young and Stroud. It's not a bad pairing, right? I thought maybe I'd have to go Young and Stroud in that mark, but I did not have to. So give me Jefferson and Dak. And then I went Higgins, Andrews, and I purposely did a 0 running back build. I tend to do 0 running back or anchor running back, but this one I wanted to see what it looked like because I knew I was going to do a video on this. And I don't mind how it came out. If you get Miles Sanders and Aaron Jones, maybe Miles Sanders goes back to the Eagles on team-friendly deal. I think he's kind of trending down in free agency, and maybe he's not going to get that money. Him and Aaron Jones is your running back 1 and 2. And then you have Dotson and Moore and Godwin kind of going for ceiling plays there. I don't hate this build. I don't love it, but I do like Andrews in position of value there and Jefferson, right? And then you get Dak. And I don't mind Derek Carr there. I think he's a solid quarterback too. I think if he does well enough, he'll have 2 or 3 years value there. And really, you're just looking at that 2 or 3 years mark, right? So I don't love this team, but I don't hate it either. I think it's competitive, probably going to need to make some moves. Now, another roster I really liked, and I kind of shouted out anyway. I love this roster. B. Kane does a good job. He's a good person. He's been I think he's been following me in fantasy since I started 3 years ago. So I wanted to give him a shout out as well. But yeah, Jalen Hurts, Amon-Ra, Olave, Smith, Judy. That's a great build. That's fun build, right? Then you get Swifts and Akers, who I think could be fantasy relevant. Hey, there you go, Cooper. And then Geno and Love, like I talked about, and Kamara is the outlier, right? If Kamara gets suspended 4 or 5 games, comes back, you're still looking at a guy who, if Swift and Akers are struggling, maybe Kamara comes in just that pass-catching guy and that upside there, and you still built a solid wide receiver crew. I think the only pick I would say about is Judy. I don't know what Judy is moving forward, but even then, like with the guys that went after him, I don't hate the pick. Maybe Marquise Brown, right? Maybe you take him. But Judy has that upside in that offense and with Sean Payton, so I get it. And then the last one I want to look at, scroll through it, I thought he did a good job too. And I wanted to kind of highlight him because he went more running backs. So you have ETN, and then you got James Williams as wide receiver 1. I think he went really young at the wide receiver position. So he went young here in this team. I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate that young and the way he did it. And the area is there. So you have that. So you have Quentin Johnson, Josh Downs, Rashad Bateman, Bigsby, Tucker, Kincaid, all those guys. So you're looking at that. It's not terrible. So, okay, moving on. So overall, just looking at the rosters and how they're built, it's not bad. So overall, just say, I like the team. FF Banterman did a good job too. You have Fields, Bijan, and Tua, Adams, Samuel, Brown, Johnson. You have those groups. That's not bad. So when you're going through that, it's not bad. You have Boutte, Cook, Stafford, Komet, Moore. You have all those groups there. So I just wanted to give you guys this Dynasty mock, kind of go through it, just look at the value and where everything's at, especially at the tight end position. You'll see that as well. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. hopefully, hey, hit that like and subscribe button. I do want to bring up, and I'm just going to keep shouting out, go look at the manifesto and go get it. Alabama Crimson Tide here. We worked our ass off on this manifesto. If you like college football, like Dynasty, get in the Discord. It's only $1 if you want to join that. You can see it in the link below. Tail of the tape. We have this for every team. We're going to be adding content. We do weekly videos. Me and Jay Stein kind of diving over player game theory, stuff like that. We're all with football guys too as well. So we kind of have that going for us in terms of what you're getting and the kind of content and quality content you have. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the video. Hope you enjoyed the Dynasty Mock. I will check you guys next time.